So I hope everyone's doing really well today, and I want to make a vlog entry just talking about some things I'm trying to incorporate in my daily routine at the moment, and the main thing being meditation. And I'm really good with a lot of personal development stuff. I read a lot of self-help books. I watch a lot of optimistic, self-improvement videos on YouTube. I listen to a lot of positive audio programs, trying to get around optimistic people. I really do all that, but I haven't really incorporated too much meditation, and I've done a couple of sessions now, and I really, really enjoy it. And I often thought it was kind of a wishy-washy thing, a hippie thing, but it actually really helps me just really focus in and really primes me for my day, and it helps me hit the ground running. And the reason being is because when your sympathetic nervous system is spiked, when you're very, very stressed out, you're really, when you're triggering your sympathetic nervous system so frequently, you increase anxiety, your blood pressure increases, heart rate increases, and your focus doesn't go very in the direction you usually want it to. Your performance suffers because of it. So by actually controlling your breath cycle, you start actively recruiting your parasympathetic nervous system. So you're beginning to calm yourself down. It suppresses any kind of spikes in the sympathetic nervous system. So there is a nervous system shift when you meditate. And like I said, the version I've been just focusing on is with just focusing on the breath and then the count. And it's called box breathing. I call it cube breathing. And just to kind of go over it very quickly, each of these 4 phases in one cycle, you do for 5 seconds. So just to go over it very quickly, just kind of stay with me on this. You do an inhale for 5 seconds. I'm just going to represent this with a square. That wasn't really a square, so a square. There we go. So you do an inhale for 5 seconds, retention for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, and then the suspension. And what I mean by that is you would inhale 5 seconds, and then you hold it. You don't breathe in or out for 5 seconds. You exhale, and then you do a suspension, which is the same thing as the retention. You don't breathe in and out for 5 seconds, and then the cycle begins again. So it's really long and controlled breaths. I've heard people do this for 8-second cycles in each phase, but I prefer doing it for 5-second counts. So and it really, really calms you down. And I just focus on the count and the breath, and that's it. I don't do any kind of visual imagery or anything like that with it at the moment. And I'm trying to do it for about 30 minutes in the morning. It just calms you down before, if you have a stressful day ahead of you, as opposed to going extremely stressed before, you can calm yourself down, get in the zone, and then hit the ground running. I also do quite a lot of, it sounds kind of counterproductive, but I actually get a lot of YouTube videos. I read some kind of positive book and audio program before I go to uni or work, whatever it is, just to try and pump my level of optimism up before I hit the ground running as well. Read some kind of new insight or quotation, just to really expand my mind just before I go. And it just gets you in that frame of mind and more of a more determined mindset. And you would have thought that's kind of productive, being calm and getting yourself really hyped up. But really, to be honest, you're suppressing the stress part of it, and you can just focus on then, getting hyped up without subconsciously thinking about loads of stressful events in the day. So it might not make sense that, but it just really works for me. So that's what I'm trying to do. Again, it calms myself, it suppresses any kind of anxiety I have at the start of the day, and then I can just focus on, pumping myself up with good things, and then hit the ground running. So I call this synchronization, and this gets thrown around a lot in the personal development industry, but in this context, within a morning ritual context, I refer to this as synchronization because you're synchronizing both your mind and your body for calmness. So, you're experiencing calmness on a psychological and on a physiological level. The reason why this is so beneficial as well is because we've often thought as well, when we're thinking about making a physical difference in a healthy manner with our bodies, we're often thought of the second and third sources of fuel, so water and then nutrition, and we forget about the breath. And the breath is obviously one of the most important because without it we can't survive. So by controlling that, you can actively calm yourself down. It can be used in shorter cycles. You have to do it for 30 minutes. You can do it intermittently throughout the day, what I like doing as well, in stressful situations, just to calm yourself down. And then, so that's the first half of the day, and then I'm also trying to incorporate what I call a recalibration at the end of the day, or some people call it a recapitulation at the end of the day, where you meaningfully go through the day, remember all the good, and whatever was stressful or bad in your eyes, or could have been done better, you put a silver lining around it, and you also try and create a positive meaning behind it. So you change the emotional response, and that's been validated by science, particularly agrees. Some people call that in psychology a positive reappraisal. So again, you're finding the silver linings throughout the day, the good things in the day, and then you actively create your own around maybe a negative event. Maybe it's something that you could have done better on, and in a non-judgmental way or hypercritical way. You don't beat yourself up about it. You do it with a lot of self-compassion, and you just say, well, if that happens again, I'm gonna do it better tomorrow. I like journaling things, just writing down. I call it thinking on paper. It just takes it out of my mind, filters it out. Means I don't actively have to remember it, and just stores it in one place. And by doing that, it's kind of like 2 positive bookmarks at the start and at the end of the day. So I really think if you can go, if you can wake up in a good mood and you can go to bed in a good mood, no matter what stressful situations you encounter during the day, it doesn't matter to a certain degree because you can handle it. It just puts you in a better frame of mind, and you can look at the day from more of a perceptual vantage point then. You view your day as more of just no matter what happens, I can get through it, and at the end of the day, at least I can try and calm myself down and really reinforce more positive feelings and stuff like that, as opposed to being counter productive in the sense like you don't pump yourself up at the start of the day, or you do any kind of you can also call these 2 positive bookmarks emotional resets, I like to call them as well. It's kind of like resetting your computer, it just restarts the whole system again from fresh. Without doing these, it's really setting the day up. I mean, like, I know I've said I'm trying to incorporate them, but I also do a tremendous amount of personal growth work as well. And this is just kind of, again, I'm trying to just reinforce more positivity and more calmness. I really love silence. I think a lot of good insights can come from silence. And if you actually rearrange the word silent, it actually, if you rearrange the letters, it actually spells out listen. So again, you can really hear yourself think and stuff like that. And by incorporating this meditation and then doing the recalibration at the end of the day, the combination, the 2, the synchronization and then the recalibration, it just means, I feel more in control of my day. There's a bit more coherence at the end of the day. It's all kind of in alignment to me. Like, I'm not just, thinking about a load of stressful events before I go to sleep. It just means I can kind of forgive myself for any mistakes at the end of the day. Any kind of negative interactions, and just try and develop some kind of positive meaning around it, just so I can change my emotional response to it, so I can go to bed more peaceful, so that sets you up for the next day. So it kind of all intertwines. And the other thing I want to talk about was the kind of starving and feeding cycles, the kind of restriction and binging cycles we go through mentally. I'm not talking about kind of with nutrition, but I'm talking about kind of the mental fuel we allow to run through our body. Oftentimes, I always say that by actually starving your fears, you feed your courage. Quite, in another sense, by starving your negativity, you feed your positivity. It's this kind of symbiotic relationship. One feeds the other, or one starves another. By feeding your positivity, you're starving your negativity. By feeding your courage, you're actually starving your fears. So by actually facing your fears, you're starving them away. You're not giving as much power to them anymore. You're confronting them, as opposed to that being like the parasite or leech feeding off, your courage and stuff like that. Again, it cancels it out. So by doing these kind of positive bookmarks, these the synchronization and recalibration at the end of the day and start of the day, whatever you want to call it, you are actually reinforcing the can-do attitude. That no matter what comes in the day, I'll always try and find a positive meaning behind it, because that way I'm not being hypercritical of myself, judgmental of myself, and you're actually showing yourself a lot of self-efficacy and a lot of self-compassion, which reinforces self-esteem, reinforces performance, keeps your psyche looking forward, keeping look out for all the opportunities. It really, to me, it's really helped me to stay focused and keep on top of things at uni, and keep myself looking towards the horizon, and just staying focused what I want to do in my career and stuff like that, and focusing on building my relationships and stuff like that with people. And so really try that out. See, tell me what you think about it. I'm really trying to incorporate it. I've been really enjoying it. I already do quite a lot of personal development stuff, so these 2 positive bookmarks are really just kind of the icing on the cake, just to do a little bit more. I call it's self-respect. You're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your mind and your body, and you're trying to show yourself some kind of self-efficacy. You're trying to really try and reinforce that can-do attitude, that you can do something. And you're actually setting yourself up for the day, and then when you go to bed as well, you're trying to reduce the stress as much as possible. So, hope you guys have really enjoyed that video, and any questions, comment below. Try it out for yourself, let me know what you think, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.